Hello and welcome to the Jaarburgs Convention Center here in Utrecht. We have 2,207 players here ready to compete for the final YCS of the year here at YCS Utrecht 2020. Without further ado, let's get going with the first round. We have Kian Shahbazi from Germany. Hello Kian, welcome.
Hi, welcome.
It's your first time on the feature match, yes?
Yes, for YCS Voices now.
Are you excited?
Yes, I have a nice opponent now.
Do you know your opponent?
Yes, we are friends.
Okay, so friendly match.
Yeah, friendly match, but a little bit competitive because we both want to win.
Okay, please take a seat. And his opponent, his friend, Niko Schlierkamp, the champion of the previous YCS. Hello, Niko.
Hey.
Friendly match.
Yeah, but yeah, as he said, still competitive. Like, we still want to win.
So you're going to be like super competitive now, and then you can laugh about it later.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Do you know what each other is playing already?
I don't think so. I don't know what he's playing, and he's told me he doesn't know what I'm playing. But
What do you want to guess what he's playing?
I guess he's playing Spirals, but I don't know.
All right, please take a seat. So who's going first? Let's decide who's going first. 5 from Niko. Ooh. Okay. So Kian's going to go first. So without further ado, let's take it over to the dream team, the meme team. It is Nadir and Darren. Take it away, guys.
Welcome everyone. This is YCS Utrecht 2020, round 1, one of the biggest YCSs we've had in recent years. What a heavyweight matchup we have round 1, Darren.
It's crazy, yeah. We've got two really popular German players, one of which even won the 200th here, which is like one of the biggest achievements in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think we're in for a really, really good match.
We have, I don't know if we can talk about the decks already, but this is going to be one of your favorite decks, a card that I'm not familiar with yet, apparently. Double Helix. We've got Spiral lined up against Salomon Great.
It's going to be a really cool matchup. If you saw, Niko won the die roll, but he still made Kian go first. As you can see by the cards on his deck list, it's pretty clear why he wants to make Kian go first.
Yeah, so going all out here, not exactly opting for a budget version of Spiral. This is the this is the extravagance,
the big boy version.
Yeah, this is the money match, and I think that his list is really unique in that he's playing this go second strategy. It appears to be, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. When we last saw Spiral played in 2017, I think it was adopted to go second, and I think that makes sense because you take full advantage of the cards removal, such as like Spiral Super Agent, being able to pop a back row, and Tough as well. It gives you more engine cards because Tough doesn't do anything going first, but you need to see the top card of the deck to be able to resolve double Helix. So it makes sense to want to go second, and it makes you play one of the most powerful cards in the format, such as stuff like Evenly Matched, Mystic Mine as well, and even Lightning Storm I think was in the main as well. Is it there? Yes, there it is. This is definitely not budget for sure.
Yeah, hopefully he's got Starlight rares as well. But yeah, this is a go second version. I think it's something that is, do you think maybe a little bit risky with like something like Winda running around the format now? Like just this turn 1, like can't special summon more than once? Like
Potentially, but this is one of the most powerful decks of the format for sure, and I think he's prepared to take the risk just to try and get the win. He might just take the Game 1 loss to Winda, or hope that his opponent can't really set it up when he plays cards like Evenly Matched, which take a lot of resources away from him. But he also has stuff like Mystic Mine, bear in mind.
Yep.
And I'm fairly sure Shadol don't typically main deck cards that would out Mystic Mine. So I think he's relying on that as his Winda out, which is fairly reasonable, which is why I think he's playing the Metaverse as well, so he's playing more copies of Mystic Mine.
I think Kian is a little bit more prepared for that kind of deck. You know, he's got Order in the main, double Rage, opting to go for, you know, the kind of, it's not really a heavy trap version, but I think like once you start playing more than one copy of Rage, is this like how Salad has adapted over the new format?
What's cool about Salomon Great is it's not really scared of anything because its utility is really crazy.
Very versatile.
Adapt. Exactly, yeah. As you can see, he's adapted to the Spiral matchup with Drawn and Lockbird as well, yeah. So he's opted to. I think a lot of people were dropping that because they were scared maybe Shadol would get more popular. But I think he's very much respected Spiral, which rightly so, because it is the most powerful deck in the format, and you can't afford to drop games to Spiral.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see how this match pans out. I believe the players are now ready. We're going to take it over to the table. All right, so I've got our hands loaded in here. Didn't quite catch who won the dice roll, or
So
Niko's going to go second regardless.
Niko won the dice roll,
yep.
but he made Kian start, so it'll give
Kian's
Kian
got
a
the
good.
circle. He's got circle, will, draw, rage. I mean, wow,
Yeah,
this
so
is
he's got
quite
like
a hand.
He's got a huge advantage there since he's already opened Gazelle, which is, makes playing Salomon Great significantly easier. And he's also got Drawn Lockbird as well. So Kian, since he got made to start, he'll have a good indication as to what he's playing. So you'd probably either be playing some Invoked matchup or Spiral, if he believes that Spiral going second is popular.
Do you think maybe it's kind of like a little bit more known that, you know, if you're playing Invoke Shaddoll, I'd say like, you know, Shaddoll Fuse is great going second, but I feel like people are kind of still going first with that, right?
I was more so thinking of the Invoked Mech Knight version, because that would go second. Because I think you would respect that because it is quite popular. Ooh, and he's gammering that Gazelle, like just letting him have nothing, which is a good way to cut off Kian, as that'll get access to his traps. So it's effectively just like making it. He won't be able to add it back either unless he manages to make Sunlight Wolf.
Well, he's got the will for the extender, you know. So he's actually in a really good position despite the gamma. But Niko's hand is he's got the extravagance, and that's definitely going to resolve through what we can see here. Mystic Mine is going to be able to. Like potentially stall out Kian, although he does have the rage here.
He does have the rage to out the Mystic Mine. I think his play here would be the will back Gazelle and then bounce it back with Falco.
Yep.
And it means that he has the Gazelle in hand, and then he can use Sunlight Wolf to add back Circle.
For sure.
So then he's fine. He won't be able to send a trap off the Gazelle, but he's
already attempted to use it. Yeah.
Exactly, he's already got the rage. Yeah, he's doing exactly what I thought he would do. So this is like this is what makes Salomon great. So great, in fact. Its versatility is just so good. Through hand traps, it's like one hand trap is just like, you know, it still just does the same thing. He lost access to maybe one of his defensive cards, but he traded a card with his opponent, so it was worth it.
Salmon Great is just, I think, like, you know, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's just versatile, you know. It just has like an all-round decent matchup versus everything, not particularly bad versus anything, but just, you know, it has a lot of tools available to it. You can hit back row with like Heat Leo. You've got Rage for spot removal. You've got Negates with the Roar. So he's going to set 2 here. And
I mean, just look at his like end board in his hand. Like that Gamma did literally nothing.
Yeah.
And I think like is he playing free Will of the Salmon? Yes, he is. So yeah, so that'll make him be really versatile in the decks. This is one of my favorite pots in the game. Just shuffle that extra.
Shuffling the extra deck. That's not something you'd see every day, right? Like shuffle your extra deck.
Give that a good shuffle. It's crazy. I'm glad to see it in like more combo decks, because before you mostly saw it in like control decks like Subterra and Ultigeist. But it's really cool to see it being innovated in like a deck like Spiral as well, because you don't really need the extra deck to play with Spiral because it has a lot of utility in the main deck. But it is a bit frustrating to draw 2 pots, but you want to see it in your opening hand every time.
So on resolution of the draw there, Droll is going to come down, and from this point onward, Niko is not going to be able to add any more cards from his deck to his hand, either by simply adding or drawing. He does, however, have the Mine there as a kind of backup. He's got Terraforming if he wants to go for a Resort. And
well, you can't. He's on the draw.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I think that's the alternative win condition that they've discovered, because Droll is such a huge problem for the deck where you can't really do anything. But thankfully, most of the decks set up the main deck Droll are decks like Salomon Great, which he's under draw, so you can't actually circle. So someone should probably tell him that.
Yep, we'll get that informed. Is it definitely both players?
It is both players, yeah, you can't have that. But Mystic Mine makes it an alternative win condition for Spiral, because like I say, draw is such a huge problem, but a lot of the control decks up the main draw, not necessarily the combo decks. If you get drawled in the mirror, then you accept that you probably are going to get OTK'd, but against decks like this, you would think that maybe, even if it gets outed like that, it's not likely that he'll be able to OTK, but he does have Gazelle, so it is likely that he might just straight up just lose. But he still has the Circle to search in his turn, now that he's not under draw anymore. And I don't think Niko has any defensive cards in his hand from what I can see. He just has a load of engine cards.
Yeah, no hand traps there for Niko. Play there fixed very quickly by Kian, so you simply just circle in your own turn there. It kind of like, sort of does it. I guess you don't deck thin by 1, but yeah. That's been sorted out, in case you guys were wondering at home. And yeah, now from this point on, I feel like this is where Salmon Great gets like really hard to play. Like it's like the turn 3, like the interaction. Obviously in this scenario, like this is open board, right? You're trying to put as much damage down as possible. But this has always been like a really kind of like, you know, separates like the good Salamangreat players from like the great Salamangreat players.
Exactly.
Is like the turn 3 is like the technical interaction. You know, do I want to like start spinning back row? Do I want to try and push with like the update jammer OTK, which Kian is actually playing here. So I think he should be able to like pull it off in this game, right?
I think Salamangreat's actually one of the hardest decks I've ever played ever, because you never really know what to do, because he can go for game here, but he also needs to respect that even though it is an open board, Niko might very well be playing hand traps, and one hand trap could be the difference between him having enough defensive cards to protect himself, or Niko
yeah, I mean,
just pushing through.
We could see like something like
he is going for it though.
Yep, he is.
He is going for game, and I think if this like goes through, then he should win.
Do you think we should be counting how many summons this is?
Oh,
is that something that Kian's going to be considering right now? Like, count to 5 really quick.
Was it Gazelle, Spinny? This will be the 5th, so if he has Nibiru, yikes!
Yeah, I know, right? Like that's he kind of. But like,
he got
picks
it.
it up.
Yes.
Okay, he's
Absolutely incredible stuff. We saw that, like, even though Spiral is really powerful, Droll is still a bit spooky. That's incredible stuff from Kian.
So what a game that was!
Really, really good.
2 turns, Kian
done in a
mopping
flash.
up. Yep. That's,
Who says Salamangreat can't OTK? Right?
I know, right? We've got the OTK, you've got the defensive strategies, you've got like that wall that it can put up and just like stall out, and of course Droll like being such a game ender by itself.
Exactly. Yeah, I think like it was a good call from Kian to main draw on Lockbird, because it just gives you that free win against Spiral. And if Spiral's really as high represented as we think it's going to be, then he's definitely going to go far in the tournament, just a hard draw and draw alone. A bit unlucky for Niko. I think outside of drawing Lockbird, his hand was insane, and he could have
he had the
pushed
quick
through
fix,
anything.
he had the terraforming.
I think he would have comfortably be able to play through Rage and stuff. But unfortunately, he did have the draw and the main deck Mystic Mine. He had the out. It's just
when you have the out, you have the out.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got it, right?
Yeah, because like initially, like you would go for like the Gazelle, dump the out to mine so that you can set up.
Exactly.
But he had the Gamma for the Gazelle, but he hard drew the Rage anyway. So unfortunate for Niko, like that, like sort of. I don't want to say maybe like a gamble when it comes to like the deck building, where you're going for this go second strategy, opting to go for those mines in the main deck, because like in that scenario versus a lot of decks, you could just go, okay, well, you know, you've drolled me with Spiral, okay, mine, go. Let's see what you do for like 35 turns.
Yeah, I mean, he did the right thing to Gamma the Gazelle, because it would have searched for his Mystic Mine out, but he hard drew it. But he is playing 2 copies of it, and in Imperial Order as well, so he's effectively playing a nice play set of that.
Yeah.
So it's enough outs to Mystic Mine as well.
How do you think he's feeling right now at this point? Because like Niko, previous YCS Utrecht champion, down a game, round 1. Are you starting to feel like a bit nervous, or?
Nah, you'll be well composed.
Yeah.
He's been here before. He's been on feature. I'm pretty sure in the final he went 1-0 down to BA, and he still came back and won the whole thing. So I think he won't be taken aback by this for sure. He's confident in his game plan clearly with his deck, and even though it didn't quite work out game 1, you can't win every game of Yu-Gi-Oh. He's got his side plan. He's got a good side plan.
Going over to game 2, yeah, I was just about to ask, like, what do you like? Because his deck seems fairly well optimized, just kind of in this for this kind of meta, like just like his main deck. Like, what do you kind of bring in this matchup? Is there anything that sticks out to you as particularly weak?
You could potentially straight up take out the Mystic Mine.
Yeah.
But you could opt to keep it in, because Kian might just take out his removal. But Nibiru for sure, you definitely bring in, because that is. Salamangreat cannot cope with that card at all. No,
it's very difficult to play around it with Salamangreat.
You just can't, because if you do, your board's too weak.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you could also lose Nibiru. You've just got to take it on the chin. And again, you can't win every game of Yu-Gi-Oh. If they have the Nibiru, sure.
If you got it, you got it.
It's the same with Droll and Spiral. If they have it, sure.
All right, I think the players are just about to start game 2, so let's head on over. Let's get the cards in hand loaded up for you in just a moment.
Also, I think he sided in the Ash Blossom.
Yeah.
Which is really good. I think I definitely agree with siding Ash Blossom, because with a big tournament like 2,000 players, having a generic card like Ash Blossom to side in a diverse meta is a really good call, especially with like cards like Shaddoll Fusion kicking about, be able to cut off Shaddoll from their fusions. And against Salamangreat, it stops Gazelle, so it cuts them off from their defensive cards as well. So it effectively works like an MST, an engine stopper.
Ash Blossom is MST.
I
love that. Quote of the weekend.
I mean, to be fair, it's
I'm not
what
a big
you
fan
want.
of Ash Blossom though, like versus Salamangreat, I think.
Why?
I don't feel like there's a particular point where Salamangreat combos off where it's like a blowout.
It doesn't
you know
matter.
I mean?
You don't really. You're not supposed to blow out these decks. You just have to stop
Nibiru
them
does.
from getting. Nibiru does, yeah, but you can't play 10 Nibirus.
Oh, what? I have an error in my deck list.
Would you ash this?
Shahbazi. Oh, Dark Ruler. Okay.
I bet he wishes he can grab draw. I think he might have thought that Niko would have wanted to start, but it looks like Niko
Still opted to go for second. Yeah,
it makes sense because if you change your plan post side, you have a lot of cards he has to bring out, and he probably just didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So going second is probably the right call.
So at this point, like, Kian is probably going to be more aware of like the side deck and how Nibiru is a very, very popular card, at least in the side deck. Maybe we won't see a lot of it this weekend in the main, but, you know, is this maybe like something that he's always going to be like fearful of, like every time he tries to maybe go for the update jam or transcode? Or do you think maybe when you're a game up, you can afford to take those risks?
I'll just ignore it. just go over it. Just go over it. Like, no, sometimes you gotta be lucky to win YCSs, right? And sometimes you gotta think, you know what, better have it. Let's go. But sometimes it depends. It really depends on the game state. Like if you think that you can win anyway by just being safe, setting up a load of traps, and not going for game, which is something Salomon Great can do, then by all means go for it. And sometimes you can lose if they have too many engine cards and you just take that on the chin, you know, but it's just the same as whether you play around Nibiru or not. You just put them on better have it, and if they have it, okie dokie, next game. And he is a game ahead, so he can afford to do something like that.
So the Ash Blossom there came down versus the Pot of Desires, and he's just going to will extend the Jaguar out of his hand, make double balance, and then go into Wolf. I suppose that this is where he like returns a Bailing, summons the Jaguar, and then recycles. What was the initial card? Was that the Foxy? So we'll just give him a bit of a follow-up for next turn.
So I don't think he got access to Gazelle, so I think he's probably just going to add back Foxy, just to dig for Gazelle.
But to see, the thing is, like, this doesn't look like particularly impressive, like when the deck doesn't open Gazelle. But like you said, like Salomon Great is just kind of versatile. So like, yeah, you might not have your Gazelle access immediately, but you know, you might get, you're gonna be backed up with a hand trap or two, potentially like a hard drawn like Rage or Roar. So like, there's like so much like this deck like does, despite the fact that it might not see Gazelle.
Exactly, yeah. So you play enough defensive cards that you're likely to see at least one of them, and he has, in doing so, seen Ash Blossom. And a good point as well is Xcode Talker, I think it's called, makes the card it's pointing to untargetable and itself as well. So it's kind of like a pseudo Towers, I suppose.
Transcode Talker.
Transcode Talker, yeah. So it's quite good. Normally it's backed up with a counter trap in the
like the microcoder version, yeah.
But I think he just didn't want to lose to draw, because that build does lose to draw, and it kind of defeats the point of playing Salomon Great, because you want to make it
you just add with your Bailings to get your Sanctuary, and like generally you don't really do anything after that. So
I think, did he draw Gamma for turn? And he just gammed the Ash? That's insane.
There's nothing more satisfying than extravagance into Gamma.
But I think he had the driver in his hand as well. So unfortunately, he's going to be playing with one less card. But that is pretty solid. Like I say, Ash Blossom is really versatile, being able to Ash the pots so they just don't get an extra card. So you effectively just gain a card because they're not drawing two cards. But how's his hand looking? His hand doesn't look too impressive. I think, maybe he drew Nibiru for turn and he had Gamma Driver in his hand. Because he has a Nibiru in his hand, he didn't use it.
He was just holding it for next round.
Just holding it.
Yeah, so it seems like that
hold it for the OTK, I suppose, maybe?
He's going to go for Barricade Borg, which will discard the planet.
Oh, he has a big red, yeah. I'm being very silly. He definitely has everything.
Yep, he's got the big red access, and I think Kian is basically going to become a spectator at this point as the Spiral player pops off.
If I know my Spiral, Kian is definitely going to be obliterated.
All right, we'll see just how much power that. This is cool to see. Like, isn't it interesting that like Spiral like started out with like the Link era, and here we are near the end of the Link era.
Crazy.
And it's Spiral's back. Like,
definitely put Links on the map for sure with Spiral Double Helix. Just basically turned it from. What's it do? I'm not sure. What does it do?
Special summons a monster from the deck or grave to a zone it points to by declaring the top card. Did you know that if you Super Agent and miss under window, it counts as your special summon?
No way.
Yeah, fun fact.
fun factual.
All right, so how much Spiral have you been playing? Like, do you know these combos like the back of your hand? Is this like, because I assume like this is something like
I do
all the
know
players
them,
here.
but when you're playing Spiral, it's kind of like freestyle, just kind of wing.
Yeah.
Like because the combos don't start off the same. Like he's got a really like weird hand here, so he hasn't used his normal summon, so you'd naturally probably get Last Resort and Quick Fix.
He's going Borg into.
It was just to link the Master Plan away.
Yeah.
So now
I think
he
maybe
would,
you'd like go for a unicorn here, perhaps, or maybe that was banished off of the
no, he
extravagance.
doesn't want to discard his hand because I don't think he's got the most optimal hand in the world.
As far as we can see, he doesn't have any more follow-ups here.
I don't think he searched
from his hand.
I don't think he searched one of the rescues with Master Plan. Potentially to play around draw.
And he does get to do that chain block interaction with the Barricade Borg. And
No, he had to use Barricade Ball Blocker to discard the Master Plan.
Oh,
so
yeah,
he
initially,
won't
yeah,
be able
so
to
that's
chain block
once per
this.
turn.
He doesn't
Yeah.
have to because Ash Blossom's been used anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing to be scared of here is Drawn Lockbird, which is probably why he didn't add a mission off the Master Plan. But I think he had to.
I think this is why he's like going through this line of plays, like just in case like that happens. Oh, he goes for tough here. Okay.
I think what he has to do now is use the resort for an agent and guess the top card of the deck with tough. Oh, he did get a mission, I think. My bad. He got the trap. So it's not the most optimal thing you can do because normally you'd want to get Spiral Sleeper with Spiral Resort, but he should be able to do a pretty naughty combo here.
And he's calling the
What would
top
you
card.
guess?
Against Salmongrade? I think I was Monster, right? Oh, must be nice, Kian.
big oofed.
I never get it right, by the way. Even though, like, statistically, I think, like, I've got it. Like, I never get it right.
Let's check the deck. What's the 21-14? Okay, so you're right.
Yes,
No, it's
statistically, it should be Monster, but
Yeah.
he hits a spell. Well, you know, I guess I'm just not.
How about blind? What would you call blind?
I think Monster's just the safest
Yeah.
blind. Like, if you
I
don't
think
know what
it
your
makes
opponent's
sense
playing.
because if you're playing a trap deck, they play more monsters and spells. So
Yeah,
and
Alta
you're never really going to call trap blind because that's like so random. Eh? You just call trap and it's just Salamangreat raw. You're like, yes, we did it. But here he should be able to do a lot of like double helix stuff. I'm not sure what exactly he will do because he is deprived of cards. But I think he would just summon Quick Fix here.
Oh,
But he's very limited to how many times he can summon off Quick Fix because he doesn't have access to Drone here, so you can't overlay into his rank 1. So I'm not sure if you can actually OTK him.
It's the issue with the transcode with that targeting protection is like it it stops like the tough from like being able to like act as removal, and like the sleeper isn't going to be able to like break that, so he's going to have to like kind of brute force through here.
Oh, that was an interesting player, yeah.
Yeah, it's the sleeper now.
So I think he's accepted he probably can't go for game. So he's getting the sleeper.
Just to try and control the board, essentially.
Yeah, to just control the board, you're right. That's very clever. Because like I say, if you got Quick Fix, you wouldn't be able to do much because he's already used Big Red. So I'm not sure what he'd be able to really ladder into. And he's got the trap as well, so he can use that to pop on his opponent's turn. And then the trap will be engraved, so you'll be able to bring back Agent and pop a back row as well. So this is a really good play from Niko.
Are you sure he wasn't able to maybe like, I feel like the Unicorn must have been banished, right? Because surely you must have went for Unicorn at some point here.
You can't really target, and he wants to...
well, initially he could have maybe like targeted the Will, right? Just so he could get the discard out.
I suppose, but I don't think he wanted to discard anything because his hand is defensive cards. But I suppose he might have wanted to discard his trap, so maybe he did banish it off the Extravagance, which is the risk you take to be able to draw 2 cards.
Just checking to see here if we can actually check the banish cards, but we can't actually see the face-down banish pile on our little device here.
But if the opponent can't see it, we're not allowed to see it.
All right, so he's got Nibiru, Ash in hand. He's got a sleeper on board, and I think that he... tell us a little bit about this end phase interaction with Barricade and the
So this is really cool. He can decide to let the Spiral Resort go to graveyard and not pay the maintenance cost, and then Barricade Ball Blocker can resolve in a separate chain to add it back, which is pretty sick because that's sort of thing that you do when you go first to play around evenly matched, and it keeps the resort in hand as well because you're not really that bothered about your stuff being untargetable these days. You just want to keep the constant recursion in hand so you can keep on, going back and forth. Oh, and he just straight up just ashes the circle.
I think that's correct because he knows that was his top deck.
He pretty much knows his hand.
Yeah.
He doesn't want him to have access to Gazelle because that'll give him insane pushes. And he knows that he just has a Foxy. But if Foxy gets Gazelle, then
I mean, he's still got his transcode and his Sunlight Wolf on the field. Like, Kian might be able to like try and pick this board apart. Like
Well, it means he's impervious of the sleeper for now. But he's on a clock because he needs to get rid of that sleeper because it is applying a lot of pressure, and Resort is just going to get the quick fix. And then he'll be able to start doing a load of plays because he'll have access to Big Red again. So he needs to set up a lot of defensive cards.
Does Sleeper need to destroy one of your own Spiral cards, or can it destroy any card?
It destroys one Spiral card on your side of the field, yes. So you can either destroy Sleeper, Helix, or his Set Rescue.
Which is probably not going to destroy himself, right?
He would destroy his Set Rescue because it means that his Rescue's in grave. So then he can banish it to summon back Spiral Agents.
I don't think you can target a face-down Spiral.
No, you activate it. He'll add back Tough. Or he doesn't have to add back anything, and then he just pops his own Rescue. I know, massive noggin.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool interaction. Now that you point that out here, this is looking way more rough than I initially thought.
A bit more yikes in your foot. Because if he does manage to get a defensive card, then Agent's just going to yeet it away.
He's got a lot of like potential good hits here off the Foxy, and like he does have that Will as the extender follow up in his hand. So
yeah, he could take the risk to try and dig for a Gazelle, which he is going to.
Oh my God! He actually got it.
Oh, no way! Absolute cranium noggin. Like he just said, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm going to get Gazelle off Foxy. And he did.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Oh, what a hero. Round one, we're already seeing mad plays like this. This is incredible. This is what Yu-Gi-Oh's all about, man. It is great.
Sometimes you just need that little bit of fortune to get you back in the game, and I think that's probably the best thing that Kian could have hoped for in this scenario.
Sometimes you just need to click easy mode. And he did. He was like, oh, this is hard mode. And I want this to be easier, please.
But again, this is like where we see like the really like tough part of Salamangreat is like this turn 3. Like, how do you interact with like all these like responses that your opponent might have? Like, am I gonna go for like my Salad engine? Do I start off with like, you know, going into like this update jammer nonsense? Like, what do you do in this scenario?
He can't OTK. It's spot removal time. So he's going to get rid of that. I'm not sure what he'll think it is. Maybe he just did that to bait Gazelle and chain block Gazelle, and he's going to force out the Sleeper here, because if he is as big brain as we think he is, he'll recognize that that's the rescue that he added, and he wants to get rid of that because if it gets popped, it's going to go in the graveyard, but it's going to get popped anyway. Yeah. So it forces out the Sleeper.
But the thing is, like, Sleeper isn't really useful here, right? Transcode can be targeted, and he's got Balinks in the graveyard.
I'm not sure what he can actually Sleeper because they're co-linked. Maybe he has to just target the Sanctuary. Because he has to use the Sleeper because he doesn't want his rescue to go back to the deck because it's one of his pushes. So he's just going to have to waste the Sleeper.
He needs that. He needs that in the graveyard. So this is what Niko's like thinking about right now, and this is what he's like taking his time to like really decide, because this is like a very pivotal moment of this turn.
Exactly.
Is like how he uses this Sleeper.
He also has the option to add back a card from the graveyard as well of rescue. So he might think whether it's he's just letting it maybe.
Okay, he goes for the
he's going to add
tough
back
return.
the tough, but no, he's opted to keep his Sleeper. He values Sleeper really highly. But I wonder what he'll do now that he still has Sleeper online, and now he's forced to either pop itself or to pop Helix. Because if he pops Helix, then he's lost one of his main pushes. But if he pops Sleeper, it's going to blow up his board.
I don't think he has Balinks in the group. Oh no, he definitely has Balinks in the group. Did I miss it? Yeah,
he has 2 Balinks in the group.
Yeah, okay.
So, well, you'll have one now.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Like, it's just such a rough scenario because like the Sleeper like not being able to actually be useful in this scenario, right? Like, what do you do?
I think he's trying to. I'm not sure what the most opportune time will be, but I think he has to just be patient.
Heat Leo is like super like amazing here because it's boosted by 500 by the transcode, and then if he tries to relink it with the field spell, he can set the attack of the Sleeper, and then just attack over the Sleeper and wipe the board.
Exactly, yeah, that's really, really strong. But he also has to end on a defensive card, bear in mind as well, because if he doesn't end the game against Niko, he still has Resort and Tough, and it makes he has access to quick fix and stuff, and he can just like get big red and
with any kind
do
of
it all again.
Yep, exactly. With any kind of sort of board clear here that Kian can like push forward with, Niko has like a really strong top deck. You know, he's gonna have 4 cards in hand, the field spell, which is the most important, the Tough, which is really good at breaking boards. So
exactly.
Let's see what he does here. He's gonna Spinny.
Can he Spinny the X code?
Let's take a look.
I think it has to be a
believe
Salmon Great Monster, right? Or is it a Cybers?
Spinny, spinny, spinny.
Spinny, spinny.
There we go. Discard this. Target a face-on monster in the field.
That's insane. Go Spinny.
Go Spinny. Go Spinny.
Cool. You learn something every day.
Do you know what animal Spinny is? It's an armadillo, I think. Is it? I don't know.
I love armadillos.
All right, so Niko is like thinking about. All right, here. This is where he uses the sleeper.
So yeah, he's opted to. He wants to keep the sleeper on field, which makes sense. Because his board's going to get blown up anyway.
Why do you think Kian didn't use the Bails?
He wants to keep it in his opponent's turn, I think, so he doesn't
But he's got
get
two?
DK'd. No, he's got one. He used the other one in the previous turn to protect them from battle, I think.
Okay.
So now he's having agents, so that's good because it gives them a body on the field if it doesn't get attacked over here, but I imagine it will. And I'm quite surprised that he didn't pop the rescue to put it in the graveyard. Because I think that would have been an insane push in his turn as well. And
Having
also,
it in the graveyard?
yeah, because it meant that like he was going to hit one of his defensive cards with agent, and it meant that he had a body on field as well. And it means that he can summon Tough to get rid of removal as well. I'm not sure if he is going to be able to end on a defensive card here because he used Gazelle to send Rage. Oh, wait, no. I'm being...
You should be able to go for Sunlight Wolf.
He's going to link, Sunlight Wolf and Heat Leo into a Sunlight Wolf, and he's going to use Sunlight Wolf to add back Rage.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he won't be able to get Gazelle because you won't be able to summon a...
You can't put it in the zone it points to.
Yeah, because it's literally pointing in the spelling. Oh!
Okay, here
big
we go.
Meteor Rock Boy!
This is what you're always worried about as a Salmon Great player.
Yeah.
Or if you're Darren, just play anyway. It doesn't matter.
I mean, he couldn't respect it because he had to deal with Sleeper.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to deal with the cards that you can see first.
Mm-hmm.
And if he was worried about Sleeper, then he wouldn't be able to deal with the board. So that completely went over my head, and I could see the card in front of me. So here we go. Game on. He could potentially just get absolutely bodied here.
This is a massive swing. Kian with no cards in hand.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Do you think for issues of time, as we see there's only 30 minutes left, do you think maybe it's in Kian's interest to just scoop it up here and just not be at a disadvantage or anything?
Depends. I think you have to
because you have to think about the long-term strategy
since it is
of the
Niko,
duel,
you would
right?
have to respect that your opponent's competent enough to OTK you. So I think in this scenario he would just scoop up and go. But he also has to bear in mind as well that he is going to start and he's not going to have a battle phase. Yeah, no, he's done for here. He's done. He definitely needs to respect time.
You can see the way that Niko's playing, he understands.
Yeah.
And
there we go.
Yeah, they scoop it up.
Absolutely incredible. Naboo the Rock Boy.
Coming in clutch with that removal of the entire field, tributing, not destroying or anything like that.
Insane. Absolute amazing foreshadowing by us to talk about Naboo.
It was going to be relevant, of course.
It's mental, yeah. Like I say, you just can't play around in Salmon Great. You can't respect it. Because if he respected it there, then he would do a suboptimal play and he would have just lost to Sleeper.
Yep.
He had to go for it, and it was just a shame that he had Naboo. Salmon Great can't play around it. That's really powerful. But he did have draw game one, and Sparrow can't play around that either, so I guess it's
give and take, right?
Tit for tat, I guess.
YCS Utrecht 2020 round one, and we have such an incredible match just for our first introduction
what a
to the
start,
tournament.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
YCS champion. We have a really good player in Kian. So this is going all the way to the game, all the way to game 3.
It's such a shame too because I think Kian was making really optimal plays too, and to really deal with the board really well and back defensive card as well. But then.
Plop.
It's that's a shame, but that's just the way the game goes. So you can't play around everything. You can't win every game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you play Salmon Great, you accept you are going to lose some games in Nibiru. And he did live on stream.
Not the best way to do it,
but you got to do it somewhere.
He's got to get his Nibiru losses out the way early, so in the future rounds, he doesn't have to deal with it.
He's hoping, hopefully he doesn't open it again. And he's thinking, I'll open draw, it's fine.
So in some ways, this is a bit of a like best case scenario for Kian, where he gets to go to game 3, decide, do I want to go first, do I want to go second? He can see through both games that Niko's playing a very, very dedicated go second version of Spiral. Yes. So what do you do in this scenario in terms of your side deck strategy? If
You would
you're
definitely
Kian?
still just start. It's Salomon Great, you need to go first. And let's have a look at the side deck. He is playing some good cards to go second with, though. His side deck is predominantly just going second cards.
Yep.
Dock Rule a little more, evenly matched, Lightning Storm. So those are the cards you could potentially see go in against Spiral, but he is going first. So I'm not sure what his side plan would be, other than potentially bring in the Cosmics to hit stuff like Bid Red and Resort, or maybe even just to out Mystic Mine.
He doesn't have a lot at all here for this specific kind of version of Spiral, but
Well, he's already main decking Drawn and Lockbird.
yeah, his main deck's kind of more well-rounded to it anyway. I think our players are about to start off here, so we can.
He even has Nibiru in the main as well. Madness, didn't notice that. So he's got 9 hand traps that they can potentially see. Ash Blossom, Droll, and Nibiru, which are all quite strong against Spiral. With Ash Blossom as well, you kind of have to Ash Blossom the first thing you see against Spiral. Oh, he's opened Rock Boy again! No!
He's got Nibiru, Lightning Storm, Cosmic, Extravagant. These are like all like really good cards you want to see going.
But he
second in
potentially
this
doesn't
matchup.
have a play, which is the thing with Spiral. Sometimes
That's fine. He's going to see 2 new cards, right?
Yeah, that's true. He does have goods, so he already has 1 engine card. So he only has to see just potentially 1 other engine card. He does need to see 2 Spiral monsters, though, because goods isn't good by itself.
Goods isn't goods.
Yeah, it's right now it's Foolish Burial, not so good.
I hate you. That wasn't funny.
Why'd you laugh?
So he's going with the Signet Mining into the Gazelle, and he's like, this is where you have
you got
everything.
Falco there. You already drew Gazelle. He's that good.
Okay.
You
sure.
already had it.
Sorry. Yes. Kian's done a really good job of seeing
Opening
Gazelle.
Yeah, very good. I mean, if you're a Salomon Great player, what you want to do is see Gazelle, and he's doing it.
It's strategy 101.
Good old strategy. See Gazelle. He's doing it.
Now the problem here is that we're going to have to start counting summons.
Yeah, I believe that's summon number 3 now.
Yes, it is.
There's no way you could potentially do it.
What do you do? Do you just go all in and like get back the rage and just set everything and hope he just doesn't have it? You know,
Yep.
before entering end phase, I would like to respond at the end of the main
You would
phase.
do it as soon as he relinks into the second Sunlight Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
But he's playing around Nibiru quite nicely here with Falco, because it means he's definitely going to have Gazelle in his hand no matter
Right.
what.
Yeah,
So
that's
really,
that's a
really
very
good.
intelligent play there.
Really, really good. I really like this.
He's relinking Balinks. We're going to go for, is that a Dweller he's trying to go for? Oh, he's setting the Roar.
Mate, this is so good. He's playing around Nibiru amazingly well.
Is this only 4 summons?
It doesn't matter. Like, he's probably going to get Nibiru at some point.
Okay.
But it means that he's got a defensive card and
Like he
he's
keeps like
added back Gazelle, yeah.
Mhm.
The thing with, I think I probably would have potentially went for Rage instead of Raw, because if he
Oh,
gets
yeah?
Nibiru'd here, then his Raw's going to get turned off.
Right, okay.
And he's probably going to go for a Dweller or Baguska?
Plan B. Oh, no, there it is. It's the Dweller.
Dweller.
Okay.
But he has also a defensive card in Cosmic Cyclone as well.
Refusing to play around the Mech Knight smokescreen.
Give me
Before
summon Blue
leaving
Sky.
main phase.
Excuse me, I'd like to stay in the main phase.
There it
please.
is. Oh, such a blot in this scenario. And he's choosing to summon it in that zone there. Is there a particular reason, do you think?
For the Blue Sky, I guess.
Oh, he's just summons it into attack mode. Okay, interesting.
Because he can Brawl Sword or TK
Yep.
over it, maybe.
Yep. There's the extravagance coming
So
down.
this is the reason why I potentially, I think everything what Kian did there, to play around Nibiru, was nice.
Mhm. The only thing he would have changed is the rage,
I
I
would have
guess.
just got Rage,
Yeah.
Because maybe Raw might be better, but if he was choosing to play around Nibiru, then like Rage would have been better, because it meant it wouldn't have got turned off, because he could still use Salmon Great cards in his hand.
Yeah.
But maybe he was thinking better have it still.
So this is where the Droll is going to come down, and I think this might be like the kind of saving grace for Kian here. We can see like they're both drawing these like really like super powerful like turn-ending cards with like the Nibiru, and then he trades it with the Droll. So
But
like
I don't think he has a play though. He doesn't have a play.
oh, his hand's like still not very good.
No, it's
Let's see, Gamma,
it's still not
Big
Foolish
Red,
Burial
Sleeper.
good.
Burial, not so good.
He drew Gamma too, so like he can't even Gamma the draw because he has a Nibiru on field, which is a big yikes. So they kind of conflict with each other. But I suppose that like you kind of have to play Gamma because you don't want to lose to draw.
If you have to deal with a turn skip, essentially, which Droll sort of does to Spyro, this is probably the most optimal time you could hope for it. Is when my hand like doesn't do anything
I
anyway.
play anyway.
Thanks for the Droll. Like they'll take that trade. But Nibiru's just going to attack for the token and set a back row and pass here.
Is he going to Cosmic that in phase? Yeah, I don't see
Yep.
why not, yeah.
Do you think maybe Niko should have just straight up hit the roar? As the rage roar. It was roar. Yeah. Do you think he maybe should have just set that and maybe like not offset the cyclone?
I think he should have just held the Cosmic. I don't know why he said it, to be honest. And maybe he was thinking of the
Or
Will
like
of
a
the
will,
Salamangreat,
perhaps?
yeah,
Yeah.
because that is his only defensive card, and he could potentially get OTK'd here because he knows he has Gazelle, and he just drew another draw on Lockbird as well, just for good measure.
Oh my God, did he? Okay.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Kian is out here taking names.
But the thing is, if he removes the Nibiru on field and doesn't OTK him, his Gamma is now alive.
That is
so
true.
if
And he's got
Kian
Lightning
drops
Storm
Droll-
follow-up.
Yes. So he has plenty of pushes, so that Lightning Storm itself can bait out the counter trap as well. I think setting it was probably right because he is probably scared of getting OTK'd with Will of the Salamander.
All right.
There's never a right answer, is there? Because you just lose to anything if you do something.
It's really tough. Like there's just so many different like decision trees that kind of like work against some lines of play, like some hand traps that he might have, and like some lines of play like work against like the other likely scenarios of cards that like Niko might have in his hand. So
he's probably not thinking that like he sided in Cosmic against him. So he's probably thinking, this back row is safe, relatively safe.
that is like probably what I would be thinking in Niko's scenario. There's like, okay, you brought Cosmic in. Maybe he's like afraid of like the mine or something. But I don't know. I feel like if you're in Kian's position, you've got the rage, so like you don't really need to like worry too much about a mine coming in against you. Unless he's like really scared of like not being able to target monsters.
I think I still would have Cosmic Den phase because it could have potentially have been like, I don't know. You don't know what people are siding in these days.
You don't know?
You're just like, just to be safe, just get rid of it. I don't want to think. Just get rid of it.
Hopefully by the end of the weekend we'll see a Waking the Dragon or something.
Ooh, that'd be cool. It'd be interesting to see what is your favorite card to summon up Waking the Dragon.
What is your favorite? Ultimate Falcon, I guess. It's the most generic
I've never
one.
resolved
This
the
loses to Borrelsword,
I've
though.
never resolved the Waken the Dragon.
You don't really
imagine
play those decks, that's why.
Yeah, I guess I would just summon Exterior because it looks cute.
All right, well, he's going to get the Rage here, and this is going to be his setup.
He doesn't look like he's going for game.
Yeah, of course. He's like almost always just going to like, control the board and poke a little bit. He needs to get a little bit ahead on life, though. He is only 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, and Kian is going to... Yeah, Kian definitely has to try and push a little, like, if he doesn't need to OTK, but he does need to like make sure he's ahead on life.
He drew Gamma for turn as well, so it doesn't look like he has a play still. So he's probably just going to deck fin and just put a card in the graveyard.
He needs to try and search at least once to bait out that draw so he can have one more turn.
But he can't. There's nothing in his hand that physically can search.
Banish Assault, special Gamma.
Sick play, mate. Absolute sick. But yeah, life is looking really spooky, but I think Kian is definitely favoured here. Spiral is doing what it can do, not draw very optimally, which is the risk that you take when you play Spiral. Like I said at the start, it is the most powerful deck, but you can't see hands like this where you've got Big Red Sleeper, Lightning Storm, and 2 Gammas.
Is he playing Magician Soul?
I believe so.
Oh,
yeah, he is.
We just haven't seen it in 3 games.
No.
Okay,
No,
that's really unfortunate.
He's raging the...
Both cards there.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say this is probably game over, but his Gamma is now live.
Do you think he set the Big Red because he's trying to slowly make Sleeper live?
That would be a good idea, yeah. I think, because he has more or less got it live now. What's in the graveyard? Big Red, Assault, and... Ooh, no. So he needs one more card in the graveyard to make Sleeper live, but I think he probably recognises that is his win condition. And the only card that he has now is Gamma to defend himself.
Oh my god, he just drew Imperial Order. Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Kian, he's crazy.
Kian.
This is...
He's going straight to battle phase. He recognises his win condition in time, and he just...
How much damage is this? 36 plus, how big is Falco? 12? 48 damage?
He's playing around the Gamma exceptionally well.
There's Vaguska set to... All right.
And does he have a play? Monster Reborn. No, still no plays on Niko's.
He's not drawing anything.
Oh, he must be very disappointed in this.
It's really disappointing to see those scenarios, when it's like a really hard fought, really well played back and forth game, and Niko's just top decking nothing.
Game 1 and game 2, we saw.
He's going to scoop it up. He recognizes there's just no way to play. Look at that hand. That's just unfortunate.
But this can happen in Spiral. Like, it's a risk you take for such a powerful deck. When you play a really powerful deck, its drawback is that it sometimes does let you down, and we saw firsthand there. Game 1 and 2, the deck looked really, really strong. Game 3, just like, what can you do? I
think Kian played that exceptionally well. Unfortunate that Niko couldn't really put much of a fight up in that second part of that game 3, but I think that this was definitely a well-deserved game by Kian. He has full mastery over the Salmon Great deck. The way that you mentioned, the way he played around that Nibiru was really impressive. So that was like really cool to see.
It was really, really cool. Like I think he would have potentially won game 2 as well because his technical play was spot on. It was really, really good. The way that he done it was unfortunate where you go, ooh, Gazelle. You just go, Gazelle.
That's part of your technical play, draw Gazelle.
That is part of your strategy. Just solid technical play and be able to draw Gazelle. Yeah, but either way, despite having like decent hands, you still have to play those hands really well. And he did, and he played those really well. And the only game that he arguably lost was when he just got hit by the rock. And sometimes you take those losses.
Twice.
And he recognises that because the only deck card that Salamangreat really loses to outright is Nibiru.
Yep.
And people might not be opting to play Nibiru because it might not be too strong against Spiral. It's not particularly great against it at all. So it is a really good meta call to go for Salamangreat. And I think it showed there. It showed.
Well, I think moving forward, you're down 0-1 at like one of the biggest YCSs. Niko's going to have to just take this on the chin, deal with the variance.
Exactly, but you've got a difficult opponent round 1, so it means his tiebreakers are going to be good. But it happens. Like, you can't win every game of Yu-Gi-Oh! You can't win every match of Yu-Gi-Oh! For sure. And it doesn't matter where you lose, because at the end of the day, you can top this event on like X1 record. And whether if you lose round 1, round 10, round 4, or 5.5, I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter. He's still poised to do really well at this event because his deck's really well thought out, built, going second Spiral deck. I think it'll be really good.
Well, I think that's going to be us with the player interview. So let's hear from Kian. Over to you, Luke.
Thank you very much, Nadir. I'm here with Kian. Congratulations. That was a very hard-fought match.
Thank you.
Do you feel a little tired after that one?
Yeah, I felt the tension between us both and the pressure from feature match. It's like I have to sit it down now.
I mean, you could see the crowd was slowly, I don't know if you noticed, but the crowd was slowly but surely getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the round was going on. Did you notice?
No, I didn't notice at all. I was just too focused in the match. Yeah.
For sure. I bet at the end when you stood up, you were a bit like, what are all these people doing here?
Yeah, like I saw my friends and I was like, yeah, at least they are watching me.
So I've got down here, we saw the Rock Boy quite a lot. Nibiru was quite a big player in that game. Tell us about that moment. How did you feel?
Yeah, game 2 was like I had to play into it. It's fine. I mean, the deck can play around it and the card is like cool for interactions. In game 3, he had game, I think, if I didn't just like drolled him on the extravagance. It was like insane because we had both so many power cards. He had like extravagance and Nibiru had like drawl and desires.
Throughout the game, the casters just kept saying, "Oh my God, they've drawn this. Oh my God, they've drawn this." It kept going and going and going. So clearly two really powerhouse decks there going against each other. So that's your win against Niko. He was the previous YCS champion. How does that make you feel?
I'm feeling fine because I know he will do great in the tournament still, and I will do also great, and we both will just push us up. In the end, it's my friend. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, Kian, congratulations. Thank you so much. That's going to be it for round 1. Congratulations to Kian once more, and we'll see you for round 2 very shortly.